Good evening. We're going to open the June the 18th meeting. Invocation will be by Commissioner Firstner, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wilson, and we'll have roll call. Please stand.
Please. Dear Heavenly Father, bless us this evening as we work together and make decisions for the best of Ocoee and its residents.
You have no
Thank you
idea
for
how
your
this
wisdom
is
and guidance and
extremely
thoughtful deliberations. Bless all of our city workers, city residents, and especially the men and women in uniform who serve our city and country. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Presentations, none. Proclamations, none.
Mayor, I'm just going to go ahead and do roll call.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was getting ahead of you.
Commissioner Brunson,
Present.
Commissioner Wilson,
Present.
Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Firstner,
Here.
and Commissioner Oliver is absent.
All right. No presentations or proclamations. We'll go to staff reports.
I don't have anything this evening, Mayor. However, the city attorney wants to bring forth an emergency agenda item, and you have a copy in front of you, the First Amendment to Purchase and Sale Agreement and Joint Instructions.
So you may remember back in March, we approved a contract to sell property at Clark Road and 80 Mims to Meritage for a residential development. They are coming up on the end of their inspection period and are still waiting for a legal description from the surveyor to better define the property that's being purchased and sold. They want a 1-week extension in order to get this legal description. They've submitted the deposit in good faith, expecting to receive the legal description. So it's staff recommendation that we approve the First Amendment to the contract to give them an extra week to obtain the legal description for the property.
All right. We need a motion on that.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody got a chance to look at it? If you don't remember what it was, it's the property up off Ocoee Poplar Road
At the railroad tracks?
on the rail. This one by the high school road?
It's 80 Mims.
80 Mims.
80
Mims
Mims.
property.
Okay, 80 Mims. Okay.
This
All
is
right.
this is the property that we're keeping a portion of, correct?
That's
commercial
correct.
We have the
side?
commercial.
That's what it is. Yeah, they have to have it separated on
Okay.
off the corner of 80 Mims and Clark Road.
Clark.
So tell me what you're, I'm sorry, can I just ask what you're looking for?
Yeah, so we are looking for approval of the First Amendment, and the First Amendment calls for Meritage to prepare a legal description, to obtain a legal description to divide the property they're purchasing from the property we're retaining, the commercial piece.
And they've run out of, this is the time, we gave them the time limit, and we passed the time limit
Exactly.
now. So we're giving them an extension to do this, correct?
We're giving them 1 week in order to get this done.
Okay, just want to make sure, as I'm reading it, to understand it.
Well, what it was because we asked that they had originally put back in the 2.5 acres or whatever it was. We wanted to separate and kept for ourselves, commercial property, right? Yeah, that was the property.
As I understand it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Wilson for the First Amendment to purchase and sell agreement on this and the legal definition.
Could I ask one question, Mayor? And
Yes.
I don't know if the city attorney thinks the 1 week is going to be good enough, because I think we're skipping the next meeting too, so did you want authority possibly to, between yourself and me, add another week if we had to?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
2 weeks.
Yeah, the contract here says 1 week, but if you could amend the motion to allow myself and the city attorney to extend it for 1 more week if needed.
Okay.
Being that there's no July 2nd meeting, otherwise we would have to wait until the end of July to
So we'll
to
say
authorize any further extension.
Is 2 weeks adequate with the 4th of July coming up and the time off from that?
I think we're fairly confident they're going to have it, but I was just trying to think, since we don't have another meeting until
The 16th?
the end of July, or mid-July, it might be
Do
a
you
good
want more
idea.
than 2 weeks? Do you need more than 2 weeks, do you think, with the, I'm saying with the holidays in there?
I think we're fine with 2.
All right, so that motion was made. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Firstner. Any more comments on it?
And this was the amended motion to sign the First Amendment, and if an additional week is required by the authority of the city manager and the city attorney, we can extend for an additional week.
All right, here, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Oliver absent. All right,
Thank you. I had nothing else.
all right, that it?
That's it.
All right, Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Firstner,
None at this time.
Commissioner Wilson,
None at this time.
Commissioner Brinson.
Oh, none at this time.
All right, consent agenda.
We do need to pull item number 4 for just a quick discussion.
Yes, and I'd like to pull item number 7 for a minor correction.
All right, we'll go ahead and approve the others.
Is anyone pulling anything else? Is that it?
Well, let me take a look, see here. No, I'm good.
All right, we're going to make a motion to approve, Commissioner Wilson did, for all items except for item 4 and item 7.
Correct.
We hear a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Wilson made the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, let's vote on those. All right, motion carries with item 4 and 7. Let's discuss 4 first.
Item 4 is approval of a development agreement for the development off of Common Road. We have the development agreement mostly finalized. There's an issue relating to signage on a public road. Paul Rosenthal is representing the developer, and he is in Russia, as I understand. So we haven't been able to finalize the language relating to signage. What we would like is for the city commission to approve the development agreement, and then authorize city staff to finalize the language regarding signage in the public right-of-way once Mr. Rosenthal returns to the country.
Yeah, Mike Rimmer, City Planner. The intent of that item will not change, it's just how it's worded, and that it's more collaboration, so.
It was one of the issues that when we were reviewing this, I had an issue with the way one paragraph was written, so I will make sure it's to our satisfaction before we move ahead with that.
Am I correct? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I want to
I just want to, am I correct? This is the entrance that's going to be into the new neighborhood where the houses that we had,
Yeah, the inspiration development,
sharp-looking houses?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Excuse me, modern houses, thank you.
Yes.
They were sharp-looking.
Let it, Commissioner.
That's fine, thank you, I just wanted
Does
to clarify
that
that.
leave the rest of Tomlin Road out there? Is Tomlin Road going to still be there, the other part?
Yes, sir, this is just to gain the right-of-way to connect from Tommen up to the north.
But
to
it
the
will not
inspiration.
change Tomlin Road
Not at all.
designation, okay. All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion made by Commissioner
I'll second
Firstner for the amendment to the Tomlin Road right-of-way development agreement to put off for 2 weeks. No, that,
Well, we're going to approve the development agreement and then authorize city staff to rework the language on
All right.
signage in section 3-3J of the development.
all right, okay. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. Any more discussion? If not, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0. Commissioner Oliver absent. All right, we got to go to number 7. Commissioner Firstner.
It's just a minor change. When I was reviewing it, I noticed on page 73 of 879 of your agenda package, there's just a misrepresentation there. It says, it identifies the community, which is supposed to be Westmere, as Wentworth community. It just needs, the Wentworth needs to be changed to Westmere.
Okay, we can correct that.
Okay.
You need a
I
motion
just,
for that? Just
Yeah, we need to approve that with that change.
make a motion with that change.
I make a motion to accept item number 7 with the change so noted.
All right, motion made to make the change for the designation of the name of the development. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. Any more discussion? If not, let's vote. Motion carries 4 votes, 1 absent. Commissioner Oliver. All right. Moving on over to the public hearings now, we'll go to the first reading of ordinances. First reading of ordinance, that's one we're on now, right? I think I skipped one. Hold on a minute, I want to make sure.
16.
First reading. All right, first reading of ordinance for Orange County Public Schools, substantial amendment to the Ocoee Crown Point Plan Unit Development, PUD project.
This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, approving a substantial amendment to the land use plan and preliminary subdivision plan for Ocoee Crown Point PUD PSP for certain real property comprising approximately 37.46 acres located north of Fuller's Cross Road, west of Ocoee-Popka Road, and northwest of State Road 429, Western Beltway, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, amending the Ocoee Crown Point PUD to modify the designated use of Track 7A and Track 7B from workforce education to workforce education/townhome, Track 13 from bus depot/townhome to workforce education/townhome, and Track 41 from OCPS stormwater to workforce education/townhome, finding consistency with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, this is the first reading for this item. It'll be back on July the 16th. We'll now have a meeting on the 2nd, so we'll be bringing it back on the 16th. We won't open the public hearing tonight, but we will be back open the public hearing on July the 16th. Anything else on it? We can move on.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Mike, maybe I don't understand this, but when it says that it's going from workforce education, it says to workforce education/townhome. What?
In the original Crown Point PUD, in the tracks in the area that the school board owns, it was allotted for bus depot and workforce, and then there's drainage. So what we're changing all the tracks that the school board owns on the south side of the trail, the West Orange Trail, south of Ocoee High School. The idea is to give it the ability, all the tracks, to have workforce education, post-secondary education. But any part that does not become the education, they still retain the ability to do townhomes. They
Okay.
have it, and so like the drainage, the Crown Point PUD is very specific, and it has a drainage pond at a certain size. Well, if that pond ends up being smaller, the rest of that land then could become one of those uses. So we're just kind of bringing them all in line to workforce education, and then keeping that townhome as an element that is already there.
Okay, it wasn't, a
Yes.
little confusing, thank you.
All right, any other comments? No motion tonight. All right, we're gonna move on to item number 17, second reading of ordinance, public hearings. Second reading of ordinance for Rustique, 11077, Robeson Road annexation, small scale comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning to commercial project. City planner Rumor.
I'm going to go ahead and read the title to these ordinances, of 3 ordinances. The first is an ordinance of the annexation ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately plus or minus 2.88 acres, located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire Road and Roberson Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. This is ordinance number 2, the Comprehensive Plan Amendment Ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted on September 18, 1991 by ordinance number 91-28 as amended. Amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from professional office and service to commercial for certain real property containing approximately 2.88 acres located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire Road and Roberson Road, providing for and authorizing the revision of official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the final ordinance is the rezoning ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 to Ocoee C3 General Commercial on certain real property containing approximately 2.88 acres, located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire and Roberson Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing an effective date. Do the staff report?
Yeah.
All right. For the record, Mike Rumor, City Planner. The subject site is located on the north side of Roberson Road. It's 2.88 acres. It's about 280 feet west of McGuire Road. The subject parcel contains a single-family home. This area of green is an enclave in Orange County. There is existing next to it, we have office use, we have a Walgreens, retail daycare, you have commercial on the north side, commercial zone, you have a single-family home, you have a City of Ocoee water treatment plant. The item before you is to first annex the property, which it is adjacent to the City of Ocoee properties on the east, so it is annexable, and we also have the City of Ocoee on the south side. Then it's to change the land use from office professional, which we have in our comprehensive plan, to commercial, and then a rezoning to C3. What you're seeing in this zoning map, I kind of want to, there's some characteristics here that you're not seeing based off the colors of the map. You see the Plantation Grove Shopping Center, the commercial we have on the east side of McGuire Road. I'm going to draw your attention to this south side of Roberson Road. This was where the Casa Murillo apartments are. We have retail and a daycare. This really would be colored red on the map as commercial, but the way we brought the property in, it was part of the Belmere PUD in Orange County, and we simply annexed the property in, and it developed under the permitted uses under the Orange County zoning. So this property is showing unclassified zoning. We just simply annexed it in. We didn't then do a PUD. But the uses across from this and adjacent are all commercial uses. On the west side of the subject parcel is a property that had a single-family home, and a veterinary office has moved in there and was able to do that on well and septic in Orange County. Did not permit through us. The veterinary office and associated kenneling and retail is sort of more of a commercial use. So this property is really more surrounded by the red commercial than when it may appear when I show you this map. And if I show you the land use map, you'll see we don't have a land use that matches what Orange County, this shows as yellow, but this is really all red. This would be red as well. So there's changes in the area from what the maps show. So I want to draw you that attention. So the item before you again is an annexation, and it meets the state criteria for annexation due to adjacency. It's a comprehensive plan amendment, amending the professional office and services to commercial, and then associated commercial rezoning. The applicant is the owners of the Rustique Restaurant. That's the title. The intent is to move their operation from the old Winter Garden Road site to this site. We're not reviewing any PD plan or any plans at this time. It's straight zoning. Restaurants are allowed in C3, and so we're annexing and giving it the commercial zoning. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions from up here on the desk?
So the property we annexed in from the county,
Yes, sir, we have.
but it's under county,
It's under county control. They will require potable water and sewer from the city. It's our service area. That'll trigger the reason for annexation, number one. Number two, they want to develop in the city of Ocoee, so that's another reason for annexation. Yes. This is considered an enclave. It's a small group of parcels which are still located in Orange County.
Any more?
Question. The white is showing unincorporated,
Commissioner
correct?
Wilson? Mike?
I'm sorry, Mike, the other, can I,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm Mike too.
Mike, yeah, you're Mike, sorry. Okay, we're showing unincorporated.
The unincorporated.
I thought that, Casa Mayra, whatever the name of the, that's incorporated, along with the
That's showing
CVS.
unclassified zoning.
unclassified, okay, because
It's an Orange County zoning.
that CVS is in Ocoee,
Yes.
that shopping center is in
The daycare.
Ocoee,
And
the
that's why I was saying,
apartments are in Ocoee.
yes, this is really red on a zoning use map, but for our zoning maps, it doesn't have a zoning. We just annex the property.
Okay,
So if you look, there's a lot of red, and this would be red as well. Across the street would be red from this parcel.
okay, that just threw me off, okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Carson, you have any comments? All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing, and, anybody in the public have any comments on this issue? Now's the time. All right, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the dais. Do I have we're gonna do a motion on each one of them separate. We'll start with A. I need a motion for the second reading of annexation ordinance.
I'll make the motion to approve the annexation ordinance.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Forrester. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. No more comments, let's vote. All right, motion carries 4-0, one absent. All right, now we need a motion on number B for second reading of small-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment.
Motion made by Commissioner Forrester for the second reading of small-scale. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0, one absent. All right, second reading of rezoning ordinance.
I'll make the motion to approve the rezoning ordinance.
Motion made by Commissioner Forrester. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0, one absent. All right, let's go to, thank you, item number 18. Second reading of ordinance for Ocoee Village Center, PUD, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning to plan unit development land use plan, PUD LUP with approval of the development agreement. Planner Ruber.
Yes, Mayor, again, Mike, thank you. The item was before you a little over 30 days ago, and this commission approved the transmittal of the amendment to the comprehensive plan to amend the properties from a low-density residential to high-density and commercial on 4 parcels. The property is located on Claricona-Ocoee Road, near West Road and Lakewood Avenue. And just to remind you, the proposed development is for multifamily, hotel, commercial along Claricona, and townhomes, a series of public parks, linear parks, realignment of North Lakewood, and stormwater. The transmittal staff transmitted this amendment and rezoning the PUD to the state, DEO, and all the different state agencies, surrounding agencies, Winter Garden, Apopka, Orange County, Windermere. And the review received a clean bill of health, no questions. And so we're bringing these items back for formal adoption tonight. If you have any questions about the development, I'll be happy to answer those.
Anybody up with us have any comments?
I got a question here. Is there a fire station near?
That's the one we voted on earlier. We put it out for bid on the one up by West Road. It'll be going in up by the Publix. Showing up on the
Mike, do you have
map.
somewhere on the map you can show?
If you can see my cursor, the item on the consent agenda, that will be located right here.
Okay.
And presently, there is a station in that public shopping center. But,
Right, you want to read? He's going to read the description here.
I'll read the 2 ordinances. The first is the Comprehensive Plan Amendment Ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991. As amended, amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from low-density residential to high-density residential and commercial for certain real property containing approximately 73.17 acres located on the north and south side of Ocoee Road, east side of State Road 429 Expressway, north, south, east sides of North Lakewood Avenue, and at the eastern terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, providing for transmittal, authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And then the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Ocoee R1A to Ocoee PUD planned unit development on certain real property containing approximately 73.17 acres, located on the north and south side of Ocoee Road, east side of State Road 429 Expressway, north, south, and east sides of North Lakewood Avenue, and at the eastern terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing a revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Do you have any more comments, Mike, before I open? Okay, then we'll open the public hearing. Anybody here, the developer, anybody wants to make comments to this, now's the time. If not, anybody else? All right, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back. What I need, item A and B will be two separate motions, and then I'm gonna close the public hearing. I'm coming back to the dais and I need a motion on A and I need a motion on B, and then we'll do C last.
Before we do that, we do have one, Mike wants to clarify one thing.
Okay.
The motion is to recommend approval, subject to, they still have to go to the school board for approval, so subject to approval of the school board. The school board was here today and told me that they're going to be scheduled, I think, beginning of August. So we just would hold the ordinance until it went to the school board hearing.
All
We
right.
recommend approval.
Who wants to make the motion on A with that stipulation to it?
Well, I make a motion that we accept it as stated.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Brinson, and with the
Amended motion.
motion added to it, and seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Anybody make more comments? If not, let's vote. All right, now I need a motion for the rezoning ordinance.
I make a motion that we accept the rezoning ordinance.
With the same stipulation.
Same stipulation,
Yeah.
the school board.
All right.
stipulation.
I'll second that.
Seconded by motion made by Commissioner Brinson with the same added reading, and then seconded by Commissioner First. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. All right, I need a motion for the last one on item C, development agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Same stipulation?
Same
All
stipulation.
right, motion made by Commissioner Wilson, the same stipulation. Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Commissioner First. No more comments, let's vote. All right, thank you. Thank you. Second reading of ordinance for Homes in Partnership, 340 13th Avenue annexation and rezoning project. City Planner Rumor.
This is a area located off of 13th Avenue where the city, it's a large enclave in Orange County. The city has water available, and it's an area, an opportunity to start filling in some of the holes. We had annexed in and provided water service to a property on the corner of 13th and Peters. The next two items are next door to each other, and so that adjacency is met. As a requirement to provide water or sewer service, we require the property to annex if it's eligible. If it's not eligible to annex, they can, and we have the service available, they can enter into an annexation agreement that says we'll provide you water. So at such time that you are eligible to annex, you will annex, or we'll have to talk about discontinuing your water service. So we provided these properties water. They constructed, they had a building permit in Orange County. They fully built the house in Orange County. They've received all their COs, and now we're finishing the annexation process and annexing these homes into the city. So we'll do the lot right now, and then the next item will be the one next door. So it'll be annexed in, and it'll be contiguous to each other.
All right, this is the annexation ordinance for the property at 330 13th Avenue. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 0.17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. I'm reading the wrong one. We're doing 340.
340.
Sorry. This is the annexation ordinance for 340 13th Avenue. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. And then the rezoning ordinance for 340 13th Avenue. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R2 to City of Ocoee R1 on certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, anybody on the dais have any comments on this issue? All right, I'm open the public hearing. The public hearing will pertain to A and B, second reading of annexation and the second reading of rezoning. Anybody in the public have any comments on item 19, second reading of ordinance for Homes in Partnership 340 13th? Not, I will close it, bring it back to the dais. I need a motion first for second reading of annexation.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made for second reading of annexation ordinance for item 19 by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. All right, let's vote. All right, motion carries 4-0, 1 absent. All right, need a motion on item B, second reading of rezoning ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we accept the second reading of the rezoning ordinance.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. What?
All right, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. All right, motion carried 4-0, 1 absent. All right, moving to item 20. Second reading of ordinance for Homes in Partnership, 330 13th Street, annexation and rezoning.
My comments carry forward from the last one.
All right.
All right, this is the annexation ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance for 330 13th Avenue. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R2 to City of Ocoee R1 on certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
You have any more comments, Mike? Okay, all right, I'll open it up for the public. It'll be item A, second reading of annexation, and item B, second reading of rezoning. Anybody in the public have any comments on that? No comments, I'll close it, bring it back to the dais. Do I hear a motion for item A, second reading of annexation?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. No more comments, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0, 1 absent. All right, I need a motion for item B, second reading of rezoning.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, let's vote. Motion carries 4-0, 1 absent. All right, thank you. Regular agenda. Thank you. Discussion and direction on commercial vehicle parking throughout the city. Police Chief, well, he don't look like Chief Brown, but Deputy Chief McCosker.
Taller, more handsome.
Back up by Chief Brown.
Did you just say you're more handsome? Is that what you said?
He's kind of commissioner.
I think there's,
Oh, there's more?
I think it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Need my glasses.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to start a conversation reference to commercial vehicle parking. Lately, this has become a topic of conversation at the police department, and some of your constituents have called us, and so we asking for some discussion and possibly some direction on the topic. So the current ordinance was originally adopted in the 1990s. There was substantial growth since that time. Mixed-use developments was something that actually wasn't even in the conversation back in the 1990s, and is something that we are talking quite a bit about now. There has been an increased residents who earn a living driving commercial vehicles. So with that larger population of workers that they're looking for inexpensive places to park their commercial vehicles that are closer to home. And so that's why we're starting to see some of this pop up. So the next slide is the wording from the ordinance, and it says specifically the parking of commercial vehicles on public streets and road right-of-ways within the residential zone district, including residentially planned unit developments as established by the Land Development Code for the city shall be prohibited, except for loading purposes or as otherwise expressly permitted by the Land Development Code. So there's no mention of commercial property or areas that are zoned commercial property, or any mention of mixed use. So that's where it's causing the police department an issue, because we are receiving complaints reference to vehicles being parked on the road right away in these areas of mixed use and commercial property, but there is not, it's not addressed in the ordinance. The number of outstanding, the second point that we're having an issue with at the police department is the number of outstanding fines. So last year, it was researched and we had 155 fines that were not paid. And currently, year to date, we're at 62 fines that are not paid. So basically what this does is instills a mentality that will issue citations, but if you don't pay it, then we'll tell you to stop again and issue another citation. So there isn't a lot of teeth to that, and we'll discuss that a little bit more. And that's what the next bullet says, is that there's no mechanism for how to go about collecting these, whether it's putting a registration lien or other items. The next three slides are going to be examples. So this one here would clearly be a violation. It's on Veronica Circle, and so this person would receive a citation. Then we have this one is right across from the police department. I'm sure if you've come to visit us at the police department, you've seen one or multiple vehicles or tractor trailers parked in that cul-de-sac that's right across from it. It's called Bushy Creek. And I believe that's light industrial. Is what it's known for. And then this one is common, it's bonus, so off of Silver Star. So one of the areas of concerns is that the 429 Franklin Street has become one of our main thoroughfares. In 1992, when I first started with the police department, that was really the back door into Ocoee. You would either use that to use it as a shortcut to get to and from Winter Garden, but that's not the case anymore. It's a main point of entrance, and it's a part of our plan for development. So the next slides, and I gave you, the paper I gave you is really just it gives you the map. So this shows you what the different zoning is. So you have the yellow areas, which are residential, the red areas that are commercial, and then your purplish areas are industrial. And so anything that's in the yellow would be prohibited. In the red, it's not discussed, and then the pink, the purple is not discussed. So this would be one of your options if you went ahead and said residential and commercial. If you went ahead and just excluded commercial, another shot of residential only. So your parking options that we're looking for discussion on and direction on is, do you want it to remain the same where it's prohibited on the road right-of-ways? Or do you want to go ahead and prohibit it in commercial road right-of-ways, mixed-use road right-of-ways, or a combination of the both? And then the final thing that is a possible solution is the removal of the words within any residential zone district, including residentially planned developments. Basically what this would do is say that in the city of Ocoee, they're not allowed to park on any of the road right-of-ways. Again, in 1990, when this was established, there was no reason to have this conversation because we weren't having the development conversations that we're currently having. And the other part of the conversation needs to be about fine collection. We could remain the same where we issue the citations and wait on the goodwill of the citizen to pay for the fine. We could send it to collections. We can try to place a hold on the tag so that they aren't able to re-register later on. And then this could be done for commercial vehicles only, personal vehicles only, or both commercial and personal. I believe that's all the slides. Yes. So with that, I'd like to, Mr. Mayor, turn it back over to you for a conversation for the dice.
All right, commissioners. Commissioner Wilson, I'll let you start.
You owed me for something.
You brought it up.
Now, well, I have a problem. I have neighborhoods that have problems because people bring home tow trucks. And I don't know the weight classification of a tow truck in a neighborhood, but I get complaints regarding the commercial vehicles. And one of them you had in Veronica Circle, which is in District 2. The tow trucks have been a problem. They bring them home at night, leave in the morning. They're on the streets.
This would be a classification by weight. Right now, I believe it's 1.5, and so I'm not 100% sure that the tow trucks would be included in this, just like when you have the large pickup trucks that have the toolboxes that go along the sides. I believe that would fall into the classification where it would be under it. That's another conversation we need to have is again, we have a large population of blue-collar workers, so we're not sure what the commission's thoughts on whether it be a box truck, like a UPS delivery, those are the type of things we need more clarification on.
Well, the box trucks would be a problem. The trucks, your folks use a lot of those for personal use, the pickup trucks that have 4 wheels in the back. I mean, sometimes that's the transportation for the family. I haven't had problems reported to me for that. It's been more of just trucks in the road.
As you get into more of the north zone and District 1, I think that's where you would find those other trucks would be the larger pickup trucks with the toolboxes that go along the side.
Than District 2, possibly. I don't know, do you have any problem?
Well, currently, I'm not receiving any feedback from the residents in the north end of District 1. The south end, there may be some down there. But I guess my question is, what do you currently do with violators, other than parking violators?
I have to apologize, and ask you to repeat that. I didn't catch the first part.
Yeah, what do you currently do with violators, motors who you ticket?
Actually, we first try to get compliance through education. So first they would get a 48-hour tow notice, basically let them to know that they're in violation and that their car could be towed. And in some occasions, we can go ahead and issue a fine, which I believe is $40. And then if we find that their tag has already been issued a 48-hour violation, then they are actually subject to the fine or tow at that time.
Okay, so let me ask it this way. Vehicles cannot be parked on lawns, is that correct, or can they?
That's going to be a totally different conversation, a totally different ordinance, and I believe, I'd have to defer to my groomer, I believe they can park on lawns in some areas.
Within residentially zoned districts, there's a provision that prohibits commercial trucks and RVs that are longer than 36 feet to be parked on a property. If it's 36 foot or less, it is to be parked in the side or rear yard, hidden by a 6-foot fence. But that limits it to 36 feet.
And so of course, obviously, the trailers are longer than 36 feet.
Yeah, so those are clear violations, and we don't generally find them in the people's neighborhoods, but we do find the cabs, the actual truck itself, minus the trailer portion.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me because obviously a lot of folks are using these vehicles as a means to their livelihood. I don't. This is a tough one. But right now, there's nothing that says that they can't do it. Right? Is that what it is?
In residential, they cannot.
They cannot.
Correct. It's when we start talking about commercial and then mixed use, that's when there really isn't a clear answer in the ordinance.
Okay, okay. I don't know what the answer is to that.
Any more comments, Commissioner?
Not right now, no.
Mr. First.
If you include personal vehicles with the commercial vehicles, aren't you opening up a Pandora's box there?
Well, the personal vehicles would actually be for other types of parking violations, which weren't really addressed here. So if you're parking opposed traffic or something to that nature, that's where we're kind of going, again, we're on the citizens honor system for paying the fine.
I agree with the commercial vehicles and on-street parking. That should be eliminated and that should be enforced. The personal vehicles, though, I see that becoming a problem. The development that I live in, they have a covenant that has not been enforced ever since the covenant came into existence for on-street parking. Now they want to, 20 years later, start enforcing that covenant. And they're getting a lot of backlash from the citizens to the point where it's turning into a messy legal battle between the HOA and the citizens. Would this give you the ability to go into a PUD type residential development and ticket for covenant violations?
I can, Mr. Mayor, I can answer that a little bit, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you talk about like yours is a private.
Yes.
With gated, it goes to your covenants now.
Yeah, that's generally what I was going to say is that your particular neighborhood, for the record, is gated. And so just like earlier today, we went ahead and entered into a traffic enforcement agreement that would not, for commercial vehicles, we're talking about commercial vehicles here, and that would be the situation for the towing and whatnot. As far as what you're discussing, I agree with you, that's a new phenomenon we're seeing where HOAs are saying, okay, now we're going to tow from the street. We do not, we as the police department and the city have no part in that whatsoever. That is strictly between the HOA of a gated community and its residents.
Okay, that's what I thought. So this won't change that ability at all for you to be pressed into that type of service?
No, and from the conversations I've been privy to, we have no desire to be in that type of business.
No. Okay. I'm all for the commercial vehicles, but the commercial vehicles only, I think, will work better in this situation to keep them off the street than mixing that with the personal vehicles. That's my opinion.
This,
All right.
am I correct, this has nothing to do with the personal vehicles? We're dealing with just,
When we're talking about the personal vehicle, we're talking mostly about the fine collection, and I'm sorry if I
Oh,
muddied the
okay.
water by putting that in there.
All right.
I think the first issue that we're discussing is whether to extend the prohibition on commercial vehicles, which are already prohibited in residential subdivisions. Do we extend that same prohibition to commercial areas and mixed-use areas in the city?
okay.
Sir, I'm going to ask you a question while you're coming up to that. On commercial vehicles such as a semi-trailer parked up on a street like on Silver Star Annex or Bonus Annex, that truck parks there, you don't have any way to collect the fine because the same one parks there, say, every other day, and you go ticket it, you're not getting no way to stop that.
That's the true statement.
Yep, that's the problem. We have semis, trailers, and trucks parking on our roads all the time, and we go ticket them, they just ignore it and go right on and come right back the next day or the day after. So that's one of the problems we got to figure out how to solve, because if we ticket them, when they come back again, then tow them. I mean, that's a commercial semi-trailer they're parking in, and the county has the same thing up on the north side of your area. Commissioner Brinson, up in that cul-de-sac off Lakewood, on the weekends, there's 3 to 4 of them parked there all the time, just like they are by the police station. So somehow or another, we gotta find a way to enforce those where they can't park out on our streets and our roads. And that annex that comes down Silver Star is a busy road.
And if I may, Mike Rimmer, City Planner, draw your attention to what the policy currently says. When it says within a residentially zoned district, what's tough to tell you is we cannot count the public right-of-ways in that area. So if you were to preclude commercial in light industrial, you could assume that in an area such as where the, on McGuire, where the Sunbelt Rental and that new light industrial is, it's also zoned for the other side of the road. So you could assume that that stretch of McGuire is an industrially zoned district. And we want to prohibit semis from parking along McGuire in that district. So we need to have the ability to not allow it in commercial and industrial districts. You can do that by simply striking out residentially zoned district, because that would prohibit it throughout the city. Where these vehicles can be parked is in an appropriately created parking lot. One of those is not like the parking lot in front of Walmart. That parking lot is set up for 10 by 20 spaces for retail uses. The semi parks there, it's not set up as a semi parking lot. You've seen semi parking lots at these service plazas on the turnpike. They've got the really long lanes. That would be appropriate. Appropriate place would be behind a business where you have a fire lane and a specific setup place for that truck to park until it can unload. So one way that I can tell you as city planner would benefit the city with our future development plans is let's not allow it in the commercial and light industrial districts. And we can do that by striking that word residentially zoned district. It would prohibit it throughout the city. For the right-of-ways, anything on a property falls within the land development code, and we have avenues for that.
But I also want to get it answered, how do we enforce it?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay, I got that part, which I have no problem with that. What I've got a problem is nobody seems to mind what we do. The guy downtown here parks down on the railroad tracks. It's a steady parking spot.
Yeah, Mayor, we can do the registration holds right now. We've not done that. We've not brought that forth to the commission to authorize us to go ahead and we could boot, we could tow, we could do registration holds, we could use a collection agency. We've not done that when we've implemented fines, and in the past we've always kind of shied away from using a collection agency or something like that. I think one of the mechanisms we have here, though, is we can withhold their registration renewal if they're not paying their tickets. It's something we've not done in the past.
But under the same code, under the code enforcement issues, we didn't do that either. Remember, then we put in that deal where the orders where we can collect the code fines. We got some company that collects them for us over the fines. Where we started, I don't know, Doug's not here now, but we started collecting money off. It's not the money part. It is just you don't ride to Winter Garden, and I hate to say this. You don't ride to Winter Garden and see any semis parked downtown. For some reason, they think Ocoee you're supposed to park them downtown. I don't know what the deal is, but you go to Winter Garden, you don't find a semi anywhere downtown Winter Garden. So I don't know what the deal is. So I've got one guy that parks all the time up here on Silver Star Annex, right in the major part of where the traffic goes. Then you got the guy that parks downtown, in downtown, just ignores it because we don't collect the fines.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and change that, the way the ordinance reads to prohibit all areas of the city, I'm sure we could come back with some enforcement methodology.
That's all.
We may put collections, immobilization of the vehicle, and, maybe something else, and use whatever seems to be working. We can include that in the ordinance too.
I know they get tired. I've called Deputy Chief Simon, I've called Deputy Chief McCosker, I've called Chief Brown, because the people in the businesses around that area tell me they're tired of having the guy parked there too, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, we can flex our muscle a little. We have some opportunity to make it a lot more unpleasant for them to do that.
I know in most gated neighborhoods, they have their own covenants to stop people from parking their work trucks in there on the parking lot, even in the yard. So that's something different. But however, we can come up with what Mike said too, to strike that would be part of what I'd like to see. And I'd like to see somehow or other we can like Rob said, enforce these semi-trucks that are,
Yeah, well, can we also, because I think striking it is probably a good idea, because it gives us the legal means to do whatever else moving forward. But I think figuring out what we want to do moving forward is important.
yeah.
You know, whether it's ticketing, whether it's booting, whether it's fining, whether it's, and I don't know if that's what we want to do here this evening, or, you know, research needs to be put into that.
I won't keep talking about it, but I think what happens now, what's doing, they know that full well that we don't collect it, you know, so nothing happens, that's why they come back.
It's
Right.
cheaper to leave the vehicle there, you're not going to pay the fine, than to go find a place where you have to pay the store.
I don't know how that works. I know if you get Rob, you're a deputy officer too, but I know my friend of mine who's got CDL license or whatever they call them. If he gets a ticket or something, he's in trouble for
It
it.
was typically moving violations.
Yeah, something, yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I'm just saying, you're right. We gotta figure out how to get it stopped. It just keeps lingering on. I know y'all get tired of hearing it.
Yeah, we can come back with some options for that. If you,
Okay, come back with the options and bring them to us and let's see what we can do.
I think we've got a fairly good grasp on, I think,
Yeah,
what
I
what the
believe I
commission
heard
wants
that
to
they
see.
would like to have it stricken, and then we could look at different enforcement options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody,
Yeah, I agree. Do you have a preferred method?
Do I have a preferred method?
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that we as the police department would always rather get voluntary compliance. And usually once word gets around that something negative has happened, whether it was inconvenient as a boot or whether it's you go to renew your tags. One of the problems with the different semis is that a lot of times they have that word permanent right on their tag, so I don't necessarily know how often I have to re-register that, if at all. So that would be one of my concerns about just leaving it as a single type of approach. But again, I think that this is one of those things that once we develop a solution, it'll quickly get around and we won't have those issues anymore.
Are there special boots for trucks? I mean, how expensive are these boots? I just wondered when you do this, I'm not familiar with it, but these large trucks have large tires and that, I'm assuming that's a large.
I have to be honest with you, I haven't researched and I would want to go ahead and discuss with Mr. Cookson about whether we're better off booting or towing and have those conversations with legal counsel before making a recommendation.
all right, so we're gonna bring us back the answer of it.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
That's good enough for me. We have, Parks and Recs has another topic. I have the first slide of that, so I'll continue on to that.
All right, okay. Come on down, Mr. Dan.
Okay, so at the June 4th meeting, there was some conversation about the Bill Breeze Park, specifically about Stark Lake and the boat dock. There was a request for police presence in the area, especially on weekends, enforcement of no parking zones and monitoring of noise levels in the park, protecting construction projects, which is very important, written warnings for a few weeks, followed by tickets, was also something that was suggested, and staff to look into the boat ramp use and permanent parking. So I was asked to address the first part, which was the law enforcement section. As you know, we're nearing accreditation. That'll happen in July, the end of July. Part of that is to make sure that any type of unit that we have that is using specialized vehicles, in this case a boat, has specialized training. We have the officers that are properly trained on that. Utilizing our school resource officers allows us to go ahead and not put a burden onto the road patrol. So basically, once school closes, we have 2 officers that are assigned to the lake and the boat maintenance in that area throughout the summer. So you should be seeing more presence out there. It's by coincidence, it coincides with your June 4th meeting, but it was something that was long planned for. Like I said, we had to go ahead and get them specialized training. Obviously, One of the things that we notice is that once the boat is there, we see a lot less usage of the lake, especially less usage of people that are likely to break the rules. We do all of that. We do boat inspections. We listen for the loud music and things of that. And so you'll see a lot more presence down there, especially during the times of high usage, which includes the weekends and holidays.
Thank you for the signs that were put up. Thank you, that has eliminated some conversation, so thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager Frank, I'm Dan Abdo, Parks Operations Manager. I'm just here to go over the boat ramp permit and parking program. I did some research and I just wanted to present a couple of options that we have. So, the first option would be the permits for just the boat ramp use only. The second would be boat and trailer parking, and then finally the third option would be parking regulations for all vehicles, cars, boats, trucks, and trailers. First one we have is the boat ramp access permit. Basically, considerations for the ramp, we have resident, non-resident, different choice types of fees for them, types of watercraft. We did, the three that we found were Winter Park, Palm Beach County, and Orange County. Those were the three that turned up the most information while I was doing this work. So the Winter Park model is, they have two types of use. They have commercial and non-commercial. Both were commercial resident, commercial non-resident, residential and non-resident. What they did is either 6-month permit or a year permit. The fee, how they determined the fee for this one was the horsepower of the boat plus the length of the craft times 50 cents for residents, 75 cents for non-residents. Commercial was the same formula, except it would be $1 for residential and $1.50 for non-resident commercial. Orange County, what we found was they just had a flat rate for everyone. It was $150 for the year. That was just the calendar year. They didn't offer a half year. And that was only at one park that they had listed. Palm Beach County had the boat and trailer parking permits. They have flat fees, $35 plus tax for non-commercial residents and non-residents. And the flat fee was $150 for commercial resident or non-resident. It was, again, an annual permit with no half year, and it ran the calendar year, so it was not prorated. Third option we had was the parking regulation for all vehicles. They did daily rates where you could walk up to a kiosk and pay with credit card, cash, etc. And those range between $5 and $10. And you just put the sticker in your window, that kind of thing. So with all of that information, we wanted to discuss and direct to you to see what you wanted to do as far as the boat ramp was concerned.
Any commissioner want to start?
I'll be happy to, since I brought it up. I want to say something that residents would get a discount, of course.
Right.
I feel as though, as we're putting more money into the park, I think that people who do not live in the city, don't pay taxes here, should have to pay for the use of the boat ramp versus those who live here. I don't know if I like the kiosk, because the kiosk doesn't differentiate between a resident versus non-resident. I like the idea of a permit. I don't know, I guess I'm going to defer to the commission what they feel as though would be something, an appropriate direction to take, because, but I do want to see the residents, should I say, either a discount or no charge versus non-residents paying for the use of it. That's
All right. Mr. Branson, you have any comments on?
If we go with a permit, I know a couple of your examples did not, it was either annual or semi-annual.
Correct.
But, you know, are we looking at maybe being able to prorate if someone comes in and they got 3 months left in the year, but they want to use the rate?
We could look at that and take a look and discuss that.
Yeah. Yes, and, because I agree with Commissioner Wilson that the residents should have a deep discount, not just a discount, but a deep discount, because they already pay taxes and they actually pay for the park already.
That's what we were thinking, Commissioner. They floated some numbers around to me, and I thought perhaps there should be much more of a disparity between what the residents pay and maybe 4 to 6 times as much for non-residents, for whatever numbers we come
Right,
up
yeah,
with.
and that seems more feasible too.
By, it would be, I mean, and if they haven't, see, I realize the permit so many months, but you could do not just a calendar year, you could give them a permit, a little placard to put with, like your handicap for the expiration date. I mean, something of that nature, or it's attached to the car.
Most of what I found was if you had the annual permit, you put it on the boat, if you did the boat ramp. If it was the boat trailer, you'd put it on the trailer, you get a sticker for the year. If we chose to do it daily, then you basically get like an email confirmation that you keep with you or you put on your dashboard, kind of similar to like what the kiosk would be. You put it on the dash if we did the parking. If you had a boat ramp, you just have to put the sticker on your boat or keep it with you. In case somebody stopped you, you'd have it on you.
I like the sticker concept better, because unfortunately with the placard, they pass it to their friends. And they don't live here, I mean, I'm sorry, you don't
I
live
think
here.
from what I remember looking at, that you register it to the boat tag that goes with it, so it would not be able to be transferred over to somebody else. So,
The only thing it entails is somebody's going to have to stop checking. If it's out there, it's going to be where you checking permits or checking the tags or whatever, so, I mean.
Well, I don't think it has to have someone all the time. It's just, I think, again, it may be more of a burden for the police department, but if they're there and they don't see the permit, you can ticket. And then it goes back to the same thing that we just talked about in the previous item, the enforcing of it. How do you enforce to get your money? Because after a while, they'll just keep coming back and if there's no enforcement. So we need to look at the enforcement of collecting that fine. And make it to where the person, if they should have gotten a permit. It'd be cheaper to get the permit than the fines.
What do you want us to do there, Rob? You want us to take and research it?
Yeah, I think we can come back with something that's going to work. We may just, as I'm hearing us debate this right now, perhaps we could have the parking, wherever we come up with the parking areas as we further develop the lakefront. Perhaps the parking areas are by permit also. So if you put your boat in, you don't have a permit, then you have to park your boat and your truck somewhere, and you won't have a permit for parking either. So we could make it very logical for people to go and purchase a permit. But I think we can come up with something. It might not be 4 weeks from now, but I think we can come up with a program and.
It's been going on for a
But,
while.
yeah, and I think enforcement is the key
We've been
also.
talking for years.
If we turn it into a parking issue and a boat ramp issue, then, we can have the PD and the CSAs check for, parking compliance also for the boats and the trailers on the weekends, and that'll let us catch them a little easier, I think.
I think one of the problems we're going to have, seems to me, when this new park is finished and open, we're going to have problems with people doing like they used to do, just driving over the sidewalk, going on out into the park area, parking with their boats and trailers when there's too many boats and trailers there. So, I mean,
Yeah, and if we're going to put, if we're going to do something on fines and, coming up with some additional penalties for people not paying their fines, we might want to come up with a new category for, illegal parking in a park or something like that, where if somebody does that, we can ticket them for that also.
because that's, I mean, now they put sprinklers in, they're gonna put new sod in, so it's gonna be something we don't want anybody driving over. Even when we do our functions, like, we'll have to make sure we're not out there, with the big trucks and stuff, so. Maybe if you can come back and give us I think Orange County out at Windermere, it's a county, but I think they have one over there off of by Kings Point.
yeah, that was the one that actually had that
Yeah.
information, so.
So I don't know, we need to work on it, see if we can come up with a solution. So if you can bring it, maybe I'll work on that.
I think we can bring something proposed back
Yeah.
to you next time, and if it's an ordinance, it'll be first reading, and
We
you
have a lot
have
of
plenty
boat
of
companies
opportunity to comment on it.
We have a lot of boat companies come down there and test drive the boats and with all the, during the week, so I don't know. They've been doing that forever. So we'll have to see, so we can work on it. Most people don't worry about going to Lake Popkin.
Yeah, if you're all in favor of the permit, we'll come up with something that works.
Yes.
And,
Is everybody all right with that?
I'm in
Okay.
favor of the permit.
All right.
okay,
What about you?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
it's good, Dan,
Thank you.
thanks.
Good job. All right. Staff?
I have nothing.
All right. Real quick, before we go any further, I want to bring up the paper I laid on your desk, on your desk, about the, for consensus for the board on the HRDB's recommended wording for historical marker. This has been gone over by our staff and and it was voted on by the board to recommend this is what, we have to have a certain number, I think it's 1,200 and some odd pieces you have to have. It has to be a certain thing. And this is what was approved for the, this is the, I guess the front side. So this is the first one everybody's read it. The board's voted on it. So we'd like to get a consensus or a vote from the commissioners tonight that this is okay with them.
The HRDB board did vote on this, and
Yes.
this is what they approved?
Yes.
And it meets the character, I know there was an issue with the number of characters or something,
Well,
was that in the last one?
it's the right number of
It's the right number?
characters.
Okay.
You're not talking about characters included.
No, I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I think they call
He's
them
sitting over
characters,
there.
no, characters in typing.
Yeah. So this is what they come up with, they voted at the last meeting. Anybody?
I agree with it. It's well-written,
Yeah.
and they scrubbed it down to a point where can't see where it can be done any better.
And this will be what's on the historical marker when it comes out. They're working on the other part for the other side. So we need a consensus here for this.
Or are they gonna, I know there's two sides to this.
Huh?
I know you said they're working on the other.
Yeah, but the other one hadn't been sitting through yet. This is the, huh? Oh, we already approved the other one? Oh, sorry about that. This is the last one, Commissioner Branson.
Okay.
So do we need a motion for this or just consensus? Consensus. Everybody okay?
I approve.
Yeah, looks good.
Yep.
Okay, consensus is, all right, give it back to Joy or Melody. All right, thank you. All right, Commissioner Branson, any announcements?
Oh, yes, actually, spoke with, brought it before the commission. But we're talking, trying to move forward with bringing the business fair out here to Ocoee for GOA. And they're looking forward to doing it. I don't know if Rob, I don't know if you got the emails from that.
Yeah, I received one today. It's, Chamber was on board and all. So, I mean, that was the first one I'd really seen on that.
Okay,
But it looks like the Chamber supports it, and we want to look for something in the Lake Shore Center, because I don't think it's going to be an issue if we do it during the week. We can go forth with it.
right, yeah, right. We want to do it during the week, you know. We don't want to take any weekends away from the event center. So that's one of the things. Also getting a lot of emails over the last couple of weeks regarding McCormick Road and Ocoee-Popka Road, as well as the Popka-Vineland Road, trying to get in and out of there. I guess there's been a few accidents. Orange County is starting to, I guess, ramp up their patrols in that area. I'm not sure what we can do in the short term, but I just want to make sure that we're aware that that is becoming an issue, especially when it's all the numerous amount of homes coming out of the ground, people using those two roads as a pass-through and major arteries in and out of Ocoee. It's kind of tough, you know me. I'm gonna rant and rave about infrastructure, but this case is more public safety.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the county's aware of that yet, Commissioner. The McCormick Road and Ocoee-Popka, that's a few blocks out of the city either way. So we can make sure they're aware of that. I don't know if they have any plans to do anything up there, but we certainly can can see if they do and maybe prod them into doing something a little quicker if we can.
Also, we do have there's a, I don't see him in the audience. There was a resident, actually an Orange County resident, however, and I think, Rob, we discussed this before, where there's a properties that are in the city, but on the other side of the fence line, it's Orange County. But the Orange County properties are being flooded due to water. And of course, with all the rain we've been having,
Yeah.
my phone has been going off the hook if it was on the hook about that. So again.
That was off Klinger Cove, right?
Yes.
Commissioner? Yeah, and I tried to copy, we had a few emails going back and forth today, and I copied you on a couple of them, I think. So we are going to be citing the homeowners association. We sent something to them at least a month ago. The property owners that got the notices did contact the HOA. I don't think the HOA did anything. So perhaps some official citation from the city will get them to move, and they really need to clean out their ditches.
Where was that at?
That's on Klinger Cove. The houses on the south side, there was a berm to keep from flooding into the county. The berm's not been maintained for the last 10 years, so now the water from the city properties is flooding out the residents on the county property. So-
Lakewood Manor.
Yeah, right, correct.
Yeah, Lakewood Manor.
Yeah, so we're on it. We don't want, we recognize that issue when they develop there, and we require them to maintain that berm. We don't need them to be flooding out their neighbors, whether they're city or county residents. So we're moving forth with that.
That's all I had.
All right, before I go any further, excuse me, I apologize. I gotta go back. We changed it, moved the, I forgot that, comments from citizens and public. So it's open for anybody in the public that has any comments. So we moved it to the end of the, uh-oh. Sit still. Well, you're gonna have to. Set that clock. Start that clock.
Bill, we love you, you know.
Mayor, Commissioners, on behalf of those of us who were members of the group that entertained the visit from the West Point contingency, I would like to extend a thank you for your support of it and announce to the rest of the public that it has been listed to me as having been a very successful event. I had some further communications with Lieutenant Colonel Harvin, who was the OIC of that group, and they seem to have carried on everything that they set out to do with a moderate degree of success. And also differentiate that the fact that the fatal accident that occurred was not related to the group of cadets that came to us. This took place at a training exercise area at West Point itself. And anyone who might have a specific question regarding the event, I brought a couple of the announcements along with me if you would like to have a copy of it. But in and above that, during the production of the program, there was a sort of a disconnect with the printing agency that was involved in the production and development of the initial program. And I had to go outside and find a professional who had the expertise to produce the quality that we were looking for in the announcement of such an event as the West Point visitation. Commissioner Brinson, I don't know if you received a copy of the program or not. I do have copies for others if you would like to have a copy for the record, one for the city.
Speak into the mic. Bill, you gotta speak into the mic.
I do have copies of the program that I can make available to anyone else who would like to have one for their personal files, and I have one that I can provide to the city. I bring this to your attention because the disconnect that we had with our typical Minuteman printing would not have netted in the quality that is representative of what we believe the city of Ocoee is about in terms of making an announcement to the public. So in the solicitation for that additional help, I acquired the services of an individual who voluntarily designed and produced the contents of this project within probably less than 3 man-hours, but was with me from conception through taking it to the printer and getting it produced as you see it now, and did not invoice for any of the services that were involved. Of particular interest to me is the fact that this individual is a single mom, a paraplegic in a wheelchair. And I would like to ask the commission if there are funds left from a portion of the budget that you allocated, that we solicit from her some type of invoice that outlines the services that she provided, and that we compensate her for that.
First, we had an allotment of $1,000, so what you need to do is get with Joy, and if it's a bill we owe, then we can finish up with that money without even saying anything. So we had an allotment for $1,000.
Right.
So what I would do is get a hold of Joy, if it's okay with everybody up here, and if it's over that, let us know.
Bill, do you know what the cost was, or what are you looking to reimburse her?
I'm trying right now to ascertain from her a copy of an invoice that outlines her services, and she just so modest, she hadn't provided me with that yet.
That's what we're saying, get what it is, and then bring it forward to
me or Joy.
Yes, sir.
to Rob or Joy, and then we'll finish up with what we're gonna do. It's good, did a good job.
Very nice program.
Okay. Thank you very kindly for the support.
Thank you, Bill. Great job. Those are nice, interesting young people there. Anybody else in the public have any comments? Nope. Hell, right. Moving right along. All right, Commissioner Wilson.
Just one question. You mentioned the very first item you mentioned, GOA. I'm sorry. What did you mention? So acronyms get me, so you have to give me the full.
Come on, Commissioner. No, GOA is the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority. So it's the airports.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just,
I got you. I got you.
at times too, is we have to remember that folks who are listening to us have no idea what we're talking about. We do the acronyms, so I like to, since I didn't know, thank you. No, everything, I just need to remind our residents that we're not going to be having a commission meeting on July 2nd.
Nope.
And, right?
Nope, we are.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. The other thing is that I've been noticing in the morning we have a lot more folks walking in the morning now that it's not, everyone's raining in the afternoon. And just to be aware of pedestrian safety. You know, pedestrians need to watch for cars, but the car drivers need to watch for pedestrians. There's a lot more people out in the morning. We don't have kids out crossing the street to go to school. We have children out playing. And we also have, as I say, walking on Orlando Avenue, I see a lot of folks walking in the morning lately. So please be aware, crosswalks are there for a reason. Stop. I hope I can do the same and do what I say, but please watch those, watch for pedestrians. It's very important. It's not just because we watch them during school zones, we watch pedestrians during other times of the year too. So please be careful. And have a happy and safe 4th of July.
Commissioner First.
I just wanted to mention how pleased I am to see the redevelopment of State Road 50. New businesses coming in, they look spectacular. It's been re-energized with the businesses that are out there. And I'd like to thank Ms. Ginger Corliss for the job she's doing with the CRA. It's starting to really show out there, and it's something that we can all be proud of. And the trees on Blueford look great. That's all I have.
All right. I'm going to read some announcements real quick. The next city commission meeting, which is scheduled for July 2nd, has been canceled. And additionally, the observance of Independence Day, City Hall will be closed on Thursday, July 4th. Would help, I guess. Some story time with cookies and milk with a cop is being held every Friday at 10:30 a.m. until July the 26th at the West Oaks Branch in Genealogy. Center at 1821 East Silver Star Road. Also, we did the other one, Parker, and, was it something else too? Oh, I just brought it up to Rob. September 2nd, Monday 2nd is Labor Day, and Tuesday we have a meeting. So that's Labor Day weekend. I'd kind of like, see if we can cancel that. We usually do.
I'm good with,
Good with canceling?
I'm good with canceling it, but
That's, I thought we'd done it. I asked Rob, but I don't think we had yet, so it's Labor Day weekend, the third Tuesday. We cancel that. It gives us plenty of time we can schedule around.
Probably should do that by motion, Mayor, I would think.
Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Wilson made the motion to cancel the Tuesday, September the 3rd. Do I hear a second? Huh?
September 3rd,
September 3rd is Tuesday, September 3rd.
September 3rd, right.
Yeah. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Branson. Yeah, don't wait so late. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Branson. Let's vote. All right, that would be. All right, we'll try to finish up. I don't have a lot more. I want to bring up 2 or 3 little things quick. Gas, Lake Posco natural gas we talked about, Rob. If maybe we can find the money, maybe Craig or you can
Yeah,
find.
she's still not gotten me any. You asked her
I'm
this.
gonna make sure we can get
Okay.
a hold of them, but I called the other day, their phone was full, but the 66,000 to run it from the firehouse down to Silver Star Road, then they can offshoot to the businesses for gas.
Do you have a question? Do
Yes,
you mind?
please.
I don't want to interrupt your time. Okay, that was, the original plan, there was all kinds of, I know they went down one street that was a residential, but that is to go just down Bluefield.
Yeah, just from
Just from the fire station to Silver Star.
Silver Star Road.
And then any side streets
They have to go
that
do that when
are
they
residential,
want, yeah.
that would be the cost
Yeah.
of the folks who live there. I'm interested in it, but I also would like to know if the businesses want it.
I already had them, they tell me they want it, the restaurant downtown, and you got new businesses coming in.
How much was it, 66,000?
66,000. We're the only, we got it all, we got it on the, up to the firehouse, we got it on the north end of town. It's a part for the, I asked, even the Toll Road Brewery said they like that.
Would they, let's just clarify for me if you don't mind, let me make sure. When it goes down the street, they pay the cost into their property, correct? Like, let's say there's houses or residential.
If you're a resident, you'd have to pay to have it hooked up to your house.
What about a business? They have to pay to bring it into their business?
The line
just
will
want-
run down the same thing as a resident. You
Just
gotta
want to
pay.
make sure.
No, they have to pay, just like our sewer, when the sewer goes up behind there, they're going to have to pay to hook up to that.
Okay.
No, it's not, the benefit of it is, I guess we also get tax off, franchise tax off of it, get franchise tax off of it, but I have never been able to figure out why we didn't have it downtown, or that was years and years ago, they didn't bring it through.
Well, you could
But-
ask the same question about why we didn't have a lot of other things.
Well, yeah, no, but if you're gonna start having, just like we've got a company that's planning on building a restaurant and a plaza on the corner across from where City Hall's going, you want them to have gas. You know, they want to cook with gas instead of the electric, especially right now, the electric bills like they are. But it's just part of having it all, in the pizza place, I talked to them, they'd like to have it too, so.
Are you asking Rob to pursue it with the?
Well, we just gotta find $66,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you all authorized that already, and we asked,
But every week I have it wrote down, then I get into something else.
yeah, the representative was supposed to send me everything, and she never did yet, so I think the mayor has a contact.
If you want it hooked to your house, you got to pay for it, just like anything else. You have to run it from wherever it is to the house.
Okay.
That won't be the city's part of it.
Okay, just clarifying.
All right, the other one is the planning and zoning members. We're gonna bring that up about looking for how we're gonna do it. Where's Craig or somebody, give me an answer on planning and zoning, how we're gonna answer that?
Yeah, we've talked about it, sliced that so many different ways, Craig, you're gonna have to,
It's on,
I can't remember what we came up with.
Rob, we have an ordinance ready to go, and we're going to discuss it at Attorney Day on Thursday.
Good.
All right, okay, so maybe the next meeting, we'll have an answer on that. Okay, so, next. Credit charges on our finance bill were brought up years ago, we're bringing it up again. I got citizens complaining, because we are one of the only ones in the cities that charge on our credit cards when they pay their bills.
Oh, convenience fee.
So they don't pay them, and now our employees sit in there going through checks. instead of letting it be paid by credit cards, because we're charging a fee. So there's gotta be with this new modern times where you can drop somehow or another, get rid of that. So who has an answer for that? Uh-oh.
Craig Shadrick, City Manager's Office. This is something that's come up a couple of times before, and the climate is good right now to evaluate this. The gateway system that we use right now is called Point and Pay, I believe, and it, because of the volume, assesses a fee. You know, some cities have enough volume where they'll eat the fee, but there are other options out there, and one of the things that we've already been in discussion about was looking at our enterprise software solution for finance, and that's something that Rob and myself and our finance director have had some conversations about, along with our support services director. There are options out there that we can pursue and look into and bring something back. We've looked at it, and you know, this is probably a good time because we've grown so much since the last time that we looked at it that it makes sense. And I have actually witnessed someone paying with a credit card at the water counter, a developer, and their impact fees, and their assessed convenience fee was in the thousands of dollars. So we want to definitely do something that's customer friendly, and I'm at, you know,
That will also take over when the Lakeshore Center starts charging these fees for the rental of it. Well, people will have to pay the convenience fee a little more, adds to the charge. So I know I've had some citizens make comments that we're behind times with that. You know, that plus our employees are sitting there going through checks, people having to pay with checks instead of just letting them flip the card. They can do that. So maybe we can find out, Rob. I don't know.
Yeah, we can definitely look at that. I do know from personal experience, most government agencies do it, though. Private companies don't. I know when you're renewing your tag, they always charge you the convenience fee, and I think that the state and county agencies do it, not so much for private companies, though. But the other thing we could do, I mean, we could look at, I know we're going to be doing a rate study in utilities. We could, while we're doing the rate study, we could include the cost of that in the rate study so we don't have to charge. There's options. If we don't want to charge that, there's certainly options that we can do.
All right, okay, I meant to bring that up. So anybody have any more comments? No more? Meet adjourned. Have a good 4th.
Yeah, I put that down, so, I
It's funny to say time.
Oh, yeah.